Hey everyone, it's the List Bro, and we are back today for another tier list video. Today we are going to be ranking all the world heavyweight champions in WWE history. That does not count Seth Rollins and his current title reign, because that is a different belt altogether. So let's go ahead and get started here. The World Heavyweight Championship lasted from 2002 to 2013. It's probably my favorite title design in WWE history. Just the big gold belt is a great design. It's a little bit different now, but I'm just glad the belt's back in general. So let's get started with Randy Orton. Honest to God, would probably put him in S tier. That might change, but I mean, this man is really synonymous with the World Heavyweight Championship. I know his first reign was kind of crap, but he was, I think he has the all-time record of youngest World Heavyweight Champion ever. Um, I think obviously his best title reign came. Well, I think it was split into two different title reigns, but his feud with Christian was awesome, and he is technically the last World Heavyweight Champion ever after he won the unifying match at TLC in 2013. So, um, but you know what? To come to think of it, maybe A tier is better, like a high A tier, because there's some people that probably rank higher than him now that I think about it. Chris Jericho. Honestly, I'm gonna put his reign in D. He didn't do anything with the title. He had a great feud with HBK in 2008, but that feud really didn't need the belt. And it's disappointing to see CM Punk lose the title in that fashion at that time. So, and then if I remember correctly, he got squashed by Cena and lost the title. So, um, Mark Henry, I'm giving him a B tier. He had a solid run with the World Heavyweight Championship. He and Big Show had some of the best matches of both men's careers. Um, the two matches with Randy were good. He felt like a force to be reckoned with at the time. It was the greatest push of his career, and they handled him really well and played to his strengths. Um, so yeah, and I was watching a lot during that time, and I can definitely tell you that this title run felt legitimate. Um, Daniel Bryan, let me think about that. I think he only had one run with the belt. I'm gonna put it in C tier, I think. Now understand too that um this ranking and these wrestlers with the title, like for instance, Jericho is not a D tier wrestler. It's just his reign with the title that I'm putting in D. So we're just talking about the title reigns themselves. Um, Now Daniel Bryan, he won the belt right after Mark Henry, and it wasn't super memorable. I mean, the most memorable thing about the reign is when he lost the belt to Sheamus in 18 seconds. He had the chamber match. He was kind of presented as like a cowardly heel. He was with AJ at the time. He was running away from Big Show all the time. I don't know. Daniel Bryan was entertaining enough to make it work, but the reign itself, it was kind of unmemorable, to be honest. He would go on to do better things. Edge. This is more like S tier. Randy's got to stay in A. But yeah, 7-time world heavyweight champion, I believe. Just iconic with this belt. Edge really cemented the legacy of this championship and what it meant and stuff. He got to retire his initial retirement with the World Heavyweight Championship, so that's pretty freaking cool. He rocked this belt both as a heel and a baby face. His cash in on Undertaker in 07 was legendary, and just Edge with the World Heavyweight title on SmackDown um, for many years was always uh, a great thing. He was always very entertaining with it, had great matches. I can't praise Edge enough, and this is the belt he's more synonymous with than the WWE Championship. He's probably the best world heavyweight champion on this list. I can't picture who would be better. But let's keep going. The Big Show. He only had one run with the belt, I believe, and it was actually like toward the end of the life of the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know. I'm gonna put it in C. Some of you might think that's a little high, but he had a great match with Sheamus, I recall, and he was a heel, so it was kind of the same shit as with like Mark Henry, but maybe not quite as convincing. So yeah, like a low C tier for Big Show. He certainly didn't need the title at this time, but it wasn't like a terrible reign or anything. Um, Kurt Angle, uh, if I remember correctly, he won it from Undertaker. Isn't it kind of a shorter reign? No, wait, no, he defended it against Undertaker. He won it in the Battle Royal when Batista got hurt. And then he defended it at Mania and Mysterio won. It was a decent little run for Angle. Had some good matches. We'll put him at the top of C tier here. Sheamus, C tier once again. Some of you probably have him in F. But, he was World Heavyweight Champion a long time. I know the matches with Del Rio were like never ending, but he carried himself like a champ, and I understand he was a little goofy or whatever, but he always had great matches, and I don't know, I found him to be believable. It was a solid reign, especially um, there was that was an era in WWE where there were like a lot of title changes, so seeing Punk champ as long as he was and Sheamus champ as long as he was, it felt um, like a homage to the good old days when they used to do that sort of thing. Shawn Michaels, didn't he only have one run with the belt? He won it in the Elimination Chamber in 02 at Survivor Series. I think he lost it within like a month. The title win itself was good. I'll never complain about HBK as champ. Low C tier. Batista's S tier. I mean, one of the greatest world heavyweight champions of all time. His initial run with the title on SmackDown back in 05 was great, and then he won it again, I believe. There was the whole Punjabi prison disaster, but that wasn't his fault. He had some very entertaining segments and matches on SmackDown during that time, so definitely S for Big Dave. Great Khali's F. We don't even need to talk about that. Goldberg, D, his title run was short and it came like much too late. He was already made to look like a joke at that point, so it really didn't matter. Swagger, F, not as bad as Khali, but like I think he's actually a little underrated in the ring, but as far as charisma is concerned, it was non-existent. I don't know why they tried to push him so heavily in the beginning. A year later, he was like training Michael Cole. Remember that? So yeah, F, not a good reign at all. Punk, I'm giving him A tier. I know a lot of people didn't like the first title reign, and the way it ended was bullshit. But he had a really good program with JBL, and he was definitely inspiring as champion and stuff, and a good baby face. And then as far as his second reign, and I think he had 3 reigns, but once again, it was like kind of divided up in 2009. He had a great feud with Jeff Hardy and started showing more like heel tendencies, so that was all good stuff. The feud with Undertaker kind of made him look like a joke, but he bounced back with the Straight Edge Society. So, really good World Heavyweight Champion, actually, I would say. So, A tier. Like it or not, Triple H has to be S for the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, the belt was made specifically for him, and from 2002 to 2005, he had this belt like a lot of the time. And I mean, he had some good matches with it and stuff. And I know not everyone's crazy about the Reign of Terror, but you got to give him S tier as far as world heavyweight champions are concerned. Dolph Ziggler, not his fault, but D tier. So the first reign lasted not even a night. That's not even worth talking about. But the second one, the Money in the Bank cash in was great. He got injured, and it unfortunately ended his reign. It's too bad he never reclaimed it. By this point, the World Heavyweight Championship and SmackDown were kind of like really relegated to mid card filler, so it never really felt like Ziggler was world champion. By this point, the World Heavyweight title might as well have been the fucking United States Championship, you know. Uh, Benoit, D tier. I don't think he really had a strong title reign. I mean, the win itself was cool, not really in retrospect, but at the time, definitely a good moment. But, he was like feuding with Kane. He really didn't do anything with it. So, yeah. Christian, Captain Charisma. I want to put him in A tier, but no, it's got to be B. I love Christian. He's great. Underrated as fuck, but you know, the feud with Orton was awesome, but at the end of the day, he was really world heavyweight champion for only a month. The first reign was for 5 days, really 2 days, but the title win itself was very rewarding and cathartic as a lifelong Christian fan. I remember watching that live and being really happy to see him win it. And then Orton took it away. The fact they didn't turn Orton heel at that time is still kind of mind-boggling, but Christian made it work with the heel turn, and he only held it leading up to SummerSlam, but he was great in his role, but it was so short. We got to keep him in B. Cena had 2 World Heavyweight title reigns. They were both rather short. I don't think either one lasted longer than 2 months. So the first one was in 08. He beat Jericho, and I barely even remember that. I can't really call that a good reign. And then the second one, he feuded with Del Rio endlessly and then lost it to Orton. I mean, he's more remembered for the WWE Championship. He has way more reigns with that title. So, like a C tier for Cena. Just getting back to Sheamus real quick for a second. Even though I liked his reign, objectively it was kind of dog shit, and the feud with Del Rio that never ended. I mean, that takes points off. Matter of fact, Angle's had a better reign than some of these guys. Low B tier. Rey Mysterio. I love Rey, but he's an F. Let's be honest. So the first run, they intentionally made him look bad, losing to like JBL, Mark Henry, Khali every week. Just really dumb. Why even put the belt on him if they're going to make him such a joke? And then the second reign, it lasted like a month, and then he was beaten by Kane. So that's really not a good thing either. Ray got screwed when it came to the world title. I mean, the WWE Championship too, he only had for not even the whole night. That was bullshit. So yeah, F tier for Ray, unfortunately. Jeff Hardy was a solid world heavyweight champion, B tier. Again, just like a lot of title reigns at this time, short, very short. But he had a good feud with Punk, and it was interesting to see someone like him be world champ instead of like Triple H for the 100th time. It was really refreshing to see someone that like people actually liked be world champion. Del Rio, trying to remember. That's not a good sign that I don't remember. Oh yeah, he beat Ziggler to win it. He had a great match with Christian at SummerSlam that year. I got to give him credit. But everything else, didn't he feud with like RVD or something? Like I don't know. It's Del Rio C tier. I actually think his WWE Championship reigns were better. Well, he was being pushed more prominently, so it felt more legitimate. Undertaker, um, A. He either had 3 or 4 runs with the belt. His best one was when he beat Punk, and he had it for like 4 months or so. He lost it in the chamber due to this guy. He had a great match with Mysterio at the Rumble, some solid outings with Batista. Um, it was great to see at that stage in his career him still being champion and being on the show and wrestling at least like semi frequently. Um, so yeah, King Booker. Um, I like Booker T. I think he's cool. The King Booker shit I never cared about. I'm gonna put him in D tier. And then lastly, Kane. I don't know. I'm mixed on this because on the one hand, Kane definitely deserved a title run, and he got a good period of time with it, a solid 5 months or so. Um, it's just too bad that the 2 or 3 feuds he were in were fucking awful during that time. For that, being a little generous to Kane, it's probably a D tier, but we'll give him C. It's not his fault. He actually had good character work at the time and everything, but the feud with Ray sucked. The one with Undertaker was disappointing, and the one with Edge, I don't know what the fuck that was with the whole like Paul Bearer situation. That was all really dumb. So this basically sums up the list. 3 and S, 3 and A, 4 and B. These are the top 10 world heavyweight champions. Everyone else was either kind of mediocre or some were just downright awful. Um, I don't think there's anything really controversial in this list. I think for the most part, people will agree with the ranking. Some of you might have Sheamus and Del Rio and F tier, but they were decent. They held their own as champions. Maybe Jericho and Benoit being in D are hot takes, but Jericho uh, didn't really do much as world champ. It was short. It wasn't needed, and Benoit just had like filler feuds for 4 months. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question Edge is the greatest world heavyweight champion of all time. In fact, 7 run reigns with the world heavyweight title. Gotta give the guy credit. Edge fucking rules. So yeah, that concludes the list. Let me know what you think of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and who the best champions were. I'm glad this belt is back. It's way better than that Universal Championship. Um, so I'm gonna make another tier list video tonight. Been kind of on a roll with these lately, so I want to keep them coming for you. So we'll see you next time.